All right. Yep. Good morning, everyone. As you've already seen, we have winter storm watches already in place for much of the area, except for a bit of northeast North Carolina. And the main trends overnight is the axis of the heaviest snow has shifted north, but also the potential for sleet and especially freezing rain has increased with some dangerous ice accumulations possible across inland portions of the area. And that does include Metro Richmond. And we'll go over the details here. And all as always, yeah, I'll be on. I'm here as long as you need. So for questions at the end, feel free to ask if you want anything more specific than I'll cover here in the briefing. So again, very high confidence that we will have a major winter storm across much of the area this weekend, especially late Saturday, pretty much through Sunday night. Um, and again, the overnight trends have shown more potential for sleet and freezing rain with a little bit lower in the way of snow amounts. And in addition to the storm, we're going to have very just frigid air come in the wake of the storm with below zero wind chills possible in spots next week, and we'll get into that as well. And just everyone, yeah, take note. This is going to be a significant winter storm for a large part of the area, with major impacts looking increasingly likely. And any sort of after effects from the storm are likely to last well into next week because highs are going to really struggle to get above freezing for much of next week as well. Uh, so, for a brief overview, today and tomorrow, we are not expecting much in the way of impacts. And then the main period of impacts is going to be Saturday afternoon and especially Saturday evening, Saturday night, and into all day Sunday and part of Sunday night as well, with precipitation for 24, maybe to 30 consecutive hours possible across a decent chunk of the area. And that precipitation uh, will most likely be in freezing or frozen across at least the northwest half of the area for all those hours. So again, that's going to result in a significant winter storm and then very cold early next week. Again, winter storm watch is in effect for much of the area, pretty much from Saturday afternoon all the way through Monday afternoon to account for any changes in timing. Um, Again, heavy mixed precipitation starting as snow, then changing to sleet, and eventually changing to freezing rain. And we'll get into those details here in a little bit. And with temperatures well below freezing on Saturday and Saturday night at the start of the event, any snow will stick immediately. And then the sleet and freezing rain on top of the snow will make things worse. And the combination of the snow, sleet, and especially freezing rain accumulating on power lines and trees may result, in widespread and potentially long-lasting power outages. So, getting into a little bit more of the specifics here, these are forecast snow and sleet totals, and these run through 7 a.m. Sunday, which will capture the majority of the sleet and snow. And note that this is snow and sleet combined. So our forecast in Richmond of 6 to 8 inches, that is snow and sleet combined. And note that 1 to 3 inches of this could be pure sleet, especially across central Virginia and into the Virginia Piedmont, and also on the northern neck and eastern shore. And again, temperatures in the 20s Saturday night will allow the snow and sleet to accumulate on all surfaces, including roadways, and the sleet on top of the snow Saturday night into Sunday will make for extremely hazardous, travel conditions with icy roads likely and where that happens. So going into the probabilities for snowfall, we'll get into the ice after we cover the snow here. Pretty high confidence we'll see at least a quick burst of at least 3 inches of snow across a good part of the area, with the highest confidence obviously across central and northern portions of the area. And then even 6 inches, pretty high confidence across the north. And then when that snow changes over to sleet and freezing rain is going to dictate whether Richmond, the I-64 corridor, from Richmond over to Williamsburg, whether you see those, 5-6 inch totals or whether you see maybe only a couple inches of snow followed by a couple inches of sleet and eventually freezing rain. So whether this could shift north or south, and that will determine how much snow we receive. And then the probabilities for higher amounts have gone down, with the potential for 8+ inches mainly across northern portions of the area, with the highest probabilities of that from Louisa and Fluvanna County over to the eastern shore. And again, I see a couple questions in there, and we will answer all the questions here at the end of the briefing. So don't worry, I'm not ignoring them. We'll get through here, and I will answer every single question at the end. And again, yeah, the snow will start as a dry snow, and even though temperatures will be well below freezing Saturday night, it will transition to a heavy wet snow before turning over to all sleet. So just keep that in mind as well. The heavy wet snow that'll probably, stick to those trees and potentially power lines as well. So moving from snow to ice. So after the snow transitions to sleet Saturday night into early Sunday morning, it will likely transition to freezing rain as we head into Sunday morning, and especially during the day Sunday, and with the freezing rain continuing into Sunday evening and potentially part of Sunday night as well. And inland locations, especially across central and south central Virginia, are likely to see the worst of the freezing rain, with high probabilities for 1/4 of an inch of ice, with decent probabilities for a 1/2 inch of ice, which would result in major impacts with widespread power outages potentially, and also, again, long-lasting power outages. Not to mention, in terms of travel conditions, the freezing rain on top of already that sleet any sleet on the roads will create, very icy conditions, extremely slick and hazardous roads in those inland areas. Closer to the coast, the reason these probabilities are lower is because we do expect it to warm above freezing in these areas during the day on Sunday, transitioning the precip to plain rain, and we will get into those details here in a bit. In terms of the onset time, precipitation begins Saturday afternoon to evening, earlier west, and then later as we head towards the coast. And again, precipitation could last 24 to 30 hours, with the end time Sunday night and potentially into early Monday morning. Obviously, exact timing still a question, but we're pretty confident that this is going to be a very long-lasting winter event. In terms of some of the more specifics, I'm going to switch here. I'm just going to show you. This is our simulated radar and precipitation type. So this is time in the upper right. And you can see, starting as snow Saturday evening across much of the area, even down into Hampton Roads. And then you can see that transition coming up as we head from south to north into mainly, this is probably mainly sleet at this point, with a transition to plain rain over, northeast North Carolina near the coast. And then 4 a.m. Saturday, you can see the snow transitioning with a little bit of sleet in there across Hampton Roads overnight before transitioning into plain rain by Sunday morning, with mainly sleet and potentially sleet and freezing rain in here. Still snow on the eastern shore, but as we head through the day Sunday, precipitation will transition to sleet and freezing rain in the Piedmont and Central Virginia. And then, as I said before, there's going to be an area, it's going to warm up into the mid to upper 30s, closer to the bay and coast, and then stay below freezing all day Sunday as we head inland. So impacts, it could be drastically worse. And, as we head into, New Kent, Charles City, Western James City, than it is, closer to Hampton, Portsmouth, Norfolk, Chesapeake, where you warm above freezing Sunday morning. And then, the precipitation continues through the day Sunday before finally moving out Sunday night. And again, probably staying, freezing rain, maybe a little sleet mixed in there Sunday evening, Sunday night. So this is our, forecast weather, and then their temperatures, noting that, for example, in Richmond, you do not get out of the 20s during the day Sunday, and then dropping below freezing Sunday night. So you're not well below freezing Sunday night, so you're not going to melt that. And again, as we head, towards Hampton Roads, Norfolk, Portsmouth, that area, you warm above, you have a lot of hours just a plain rain Sunday here. And so again, and then in the Central Virginia, Piedmont, Louisa to Farmville, a lot of this, you're not even getting close to freezing. And the other thing to talk about here is the wind chills, especially tomorrow night before the storm, and then again, Monday night with, below zero wind chills expected across a decent chunk of the area away from the coast. And even in, Southeast Virginia, Northeast North Carolina, wind chills Monday night in the wake of the storm, dropping into the single digits. So very, very cold temperatures and expected in the wake of the storm. And that combined with, potential power outages could create, significant impacts. So yeah, your minimum wind chills, single digits to below zero. And this, again, this level of cold could be very, very dangerous. And even as we head into next week, high temperatures not really warming above freezing, with lows. Monday night will be the coldest night, but lows each night will be dropping well below freezing across nearly the entire area. And again, yeah, well below normal temperatures, really persisting for the rest of the month and potentially into the first week of February. And just, in terms of, freezing, we sent this in our briefing as well, but just this here, this is just a graphical representation. And there are potential probabilities, of, half inch or more of ice across, central and south central Virginia, in addition to the Piedmont. And with that, I'm going to stop the record.